Hare Krishna, everyone. We welcome everyone to our virtual Sunday program in our Teachings of Lord Chaitanya series, which has been ongoing for the past 2 months now. We are at part 8 of our Teachings of Lord Chaitanya series. Today we have an extremely special guest, His Grace Radhesham Prabhu. Today is also a very special day as Srila Prabhupada at the ISKCON temple in Atlanta chanted the Parama Karuna prayers by Lochan Das Thakur, and he was extremely moved, and he was in ecstasy, I think, at that time, and wasn't able to speak. So a lot of devotees recall this memory of Srila Prabhupada at the temple, looking at the Gaur-Nitai deities and being moved so much by their mercy. So we are going to sing that special bhajan today. We will be sharing it on the screen as well. I'll just give you a quick run through of the schedule today as well. We'll start the class by 4:45 p.m. Until then, we'll be doing the kirtan. Then Prabhu will give class for about 45-50 minutes. We'll have question answer session, and then the announcements, and then we'll close out with the Narasimha prayers. Hare Krishna. Prabhu, you can share the screen now. Parama Karuna Bahutui Jana Itai Gaura Chandra Parama Karuna Bahutui Jana Itai Gaura Chandra Sabhavatar Sarashiromani Kevalananda Kanda Sabhavatar Sarashiromani Kevalananda Kanda Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sohrada Vishwasa Kori Bhajo Bhajo Bhai Chaitanya Nitai Sohrada Vishwasa Kori Vishaya Chadiya Sera Se Majiya Mokhe Bolo Hari Hari Vishaya Chadiya Sera Se Majiya Mokhe Bolo Hari Hari देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवने नाथ ए मोनो दयाल दाता देखो रे भाई त्रिभुवने नाथ ए मोनो दयाल दाता पशु पाखी जुरे पाशना विदारे शोनी जान रघुन गाता पशु पाखी जुरे पाशना विदारे शोनी जान रघुन गाथा हम सारे बचिया रोहिली पोरिया से पादे नाही लाशा संसारे मजिया रोहिली पोरिया से pade nahi lo asha apana karma punjaye shamana kaho lochana dasa apana karma punjaye shamana kaho lochana dasa parama karuna bahu dui jana nitai gaura chandra parama karuna bahu dui jana nitai gaura chandra sabhayavata sarashiramani kevalanandakanda sabhayavata sarashiramani kevalanandakanda parama karuna bahudujana nitai gaurachandra parama karuna bahudujana nitai gaurachandra. So let's now read the translation, and then we'll just, if we have a few minutes, we'll do Hare Krishna. Verse 1. The two lords, Nitai Gaurachandra, are very merciful. They are the essence of all incarnations. The specific significance of these incarnations is that they introduced a process of chanting and dancing that is simply joyful. Verse number 2. My dear brother, I request that you just worship Lord Chaitanya and Nityananda with firm conviction and faith. If one wants to be Krishna conscious by this process, one has to give up his engagement in sense gratification. One simply has to chant Hare Krishna, Hari Hari without any motive. My dear, verse number 3, my dear brother, just try and examine this. Within the three worlds, there is no one like Lord Chaitanya or Lord Nityananda. Their merciful qualities are so great that upon hearing them, even the birds and beasts cry and stones melt. Verse number 4. But Lochandasa regrets that I am entrapped by sense gratification. Since I have no attraction for the lotus feet of Lord Chaitanya and Lord Nityananda, then Yamraj, the superintendent of death, is punishing me by not allowing me to be attracted by this movement. Shri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu ki jai, Shri Nityananda Prabhu ki jai, Shri Lochandas Thakur ki jai, Nitai Gaur Premanande, Hari Hari Bol. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna. Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare, Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, Jaya Prabhupada, 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 Jaya Prabhupada. Harinam Sankirtan ki jai. Hare Krishna, everyone. We once again welcome everyone to our Sunday program. As I have mentioned, we are at part 8 of the teachings of Lord Chaitanya, and today we have a very special guest with us, His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu, who will be taking us through today's session. I will give a quick introduction to Prabhu before we get started. I think Prabhu has already joined the call. I will just make him the co-host. So a quick introduction to His Grace Radheshyam Prabhu. Prabhu is an amazing devotee who is a disciple of His Holiness Radhanath Swami Maharaj. He is currently heading the ISKCON Pune branch, which also includes the NVCC, or the New Vedic Cultural Center temple. It's an amazing setup that they have there. I would recommend everyone to go and check out the temple. He is also known to have started the Vedic Oasis for Inspiration, Culture and Education, which is also known as VOICE. Another thing that is attached to the VOICE is known as the BASE, which is Bhaktivedanta Academy for Cultural Education, which are youth centers all around India and are also around the world, where students and working youth are able to engage in Krishna consciousness even though they are studying or working. He is a graduate from the reputed Indian Institute of Technology, Bombay, and he's also worked in the industry before becoming a full-time devotee. He has authored 5 books on spirituality for the youth, very basic books. I've read a couple of them myself. It's very simple, and anyone and everyone can understand these subjects, also put in a very logical and scientific manner so that people can understand what Krishna conscious philosophy is all about. Other than that, he also does various seminars. I was fortunate to attend the Devotee Care seminar that he conducted. Prabhu has so much understanding and maturity when it comes to handling devotees, which is seen by the number of devotees that he mentors and guides as well. He's also written a 5-volume series on the essence of Gita, which is used internationally to educate people on the Gita as well. Apart from that, ISKCON has conferred upon him the Global Excellency Award in the year 2004 for his valuable contribution to the youth. He's doing so many different projects, and he's also known for his amazing humility. Even today during the marathons, Bhagavad Gita or the December book distribution marathons, he goes on the trains and distributes books personally. So he is an inspiration to all of us, and I welcome him to enlighten us today on the topic of Mayavad and how Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu defeated the arguments of Sri Prakashananda Saraswati. Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna. Is my volume good enough, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu, we can hear you.
Yeah, thank you. Hare Krishna, very happy to be with all of you, and very happy to see you, Amarendra Prabhu, Adi Gadadhar Prabhu, and other friends also here. And Pranam. Panchakalpatarabhyasya kapasindhu devaja pradhana pavanam Vishnu namo namaha. Om jnanatimrandasya jnananjana shalakaya चक्षुरोन्मीलितं येन तस्मै श्रीगुरवे नमः। नमो ॐ विष्णुपादाय कृष्णपृष्ठाय भूतले श्रीमते भक्तिवेदान्तस्वामिन्निति नामिने। नमस्ते सारस्वते देवे गौरवाणी प्रचारिणे निर्विशेषशून्यवादि पाश्चात्यदेशधारिणे। जय श्रीकृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैत गदाधर श्रीवासादि गौरभक्तवृंद। हरे कृष्ण 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 हरे हरे, हरे राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. When I first heard the subject from Santana Krishnan Prabhu on the Prakashananda Saraswati's deliverance by Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, I was in two minds whether to agree for this topic or not, because it's a technical subject. It is always a joyful experience to share Krishna Leela with devotees. Everybody feels jubilation, including speaker, hearer, and questioner, everybody. But this topic is a little dry, Mayavada topic. What to do, I was thinking. So I didn't reply immediately for a week. So I went through the section 2 times. Then I felt, oh, definitely I should accept the invitation. So because you will find that this pastime also has a lot of rasa in it as we will proceed today. So even before we enter into the pastime of Lord Chaitanya delivering Prakashananda Saraswati, well, let's have a basic premise, basic understanding of the difference between a Vaishnava and a Mayavadi. Prabhupada gave a very beautiful and easy to grasp example. He said, when a person is feverish, his tongue is bitter, body is hot, and his activities are all painful. A conditioned soul is like that. And Prabhupada said, a liberated soul is like a person free from viral fever after 3-4 days, but who is still in a convalescent period, whose body is very, very weak, just like a balloon without air. He is relieved from the disease, but he is not healthy. And a devotee of the Lord, a pure devotee, is like a healthy person who has crossed even the convalescent period and who is very hale and healthy. He can eat a big plate of Mahaprasad and he can dance and sing and do a lot of activities. That is like a pure devotee who is in a completely purified stage, who has attained his Swaruprasiddhi. So you can easily remember these 3 stages I told you just now. Negative axis, 0, 0, positive axis. So negative axis is platform of suffering, 0, 0 is platform of peace, and positive axis is platform of ananda, everlasting bliss. So in a family also we can say when husband and wife are quarreling, negative axis. And when they don't fight with each other, they live in 2 separate rooms, not seeing each other, that is 0, 0, platform of peace. And when they stay with each other with loving affection between them, that is positive axis, even in a family. So when they don't quarrel, there is peace, but that's not the ultimate platform. The ultimate platform is when they affectionately deal with each other. Same way, when the jiva turns away from the Lord, he becomes naughty and mischievous and invites a lot of trouble, and inviting trouble to himself and others both. That is negative axis. When he wants to relieve himself of all the sufferings in this world, hmm, then he goes to the Brahma Jyoti, where he does not merge. He imagines himself to have merged. Just like Prabhupada gives example. When you look at aeroplane flying in the sky, it goes up, 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 up. Somebody may say it merged into sky. No, it is going to land in land in another city after some time. Similarly, the jiva may go up, up, up. You may think that it is liberated now. Vimuktamaninaha. Ye anye aravindaksha vimuktamaninaha tatvayastabhavad vishuddha buddhayaha aruhyagritrena param padam tataha patanti ado anadritishmadangreya. He says. They again come back to the material world again. Why they come back? In want of activity. So, therefore, bhukti, mukti, siddhi. These three words are used. Bhukti is platform of sense enjoyment. Mukti is platform of liberation. And siddhi is platform of mystic yoga for achieving some 8 type of powers. All of them are I-centered, if you see. In bhukti, I want happiness, earthly or heavenly pleasures. In mukti, I want to be free from suffering. In siddhi, I want 8 mystic powers to show off to the other people in the world. All are I-centered. Whereas bhakti means tat sukhi sukhitvam, which means, my dear Lord, how can I please you? Who is Krishna's mother? Who is Krishna's father? Who is Krishna's friends? Who is Krishna's sweetheart? And which is Krishna's abode? What are things that please Krishna? Just see the difference. Bhakti is centered all around Krishna. What will please Krishna the most? And if Krishna is asking the devotee, my dear devotee, what do you want? Devotee says, I don't want anything. Nadanam, najanam, nasundarim. Instead, devotee is asking, what can I do for you? That is the platform of love. Bhakti is Krishna-centered. Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi is I-centered. So, because Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi is a selfish path, it can never please the soul. So, therefore, the scriptures are vast, oceanic, and they're very grave. After studying all the scriptures, one will come to this conclusion that Bhukti, Mukti, Siddhi, Sakale Ashanta, Krishna Bhakta Nishkama, Atiyeva Shanta. So, if you come to the right conclusion, then we will accept Bhakti as our life and soul. Bhakti to Lord Krishna, Shuddha Bhakti. And therefore, Srimad Bhagavatam, which is called as Amalam Puranam, Paramahamsa Samhita, is flooded with prayers of Shuddha Bhakti, like Vritrasura's prayer. Aham Harer Tava Padai Kamula Dasanu Daso Bhavitasme Bhuyah Manasmaret Asupater Gunamste Granita Vakarma Karotu Kayah. This is a prayer of a devotee that, my dear Lord, I wish to be a servant of the servant of the servant of your pure devotees. I simply want to serve you with my body, remember you with my mind, glorify you with my mouth. And I simply don't want anything else. This is all is my aspiration. This is the meaning of a pure devotee. So Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and all his followers, they are all practicing pure devotional service. And the Mayavadis, who are the Mayavadis? Let us say a couple of words about them. There are 4 types of jnanis. 2 jnanis are good jnanis, 2 are bad jnanis. I'll tell you why. The 2 types of good jnanis, one good jnani is one who takes shelter of Krishna through chanting, through Murti Puja, and he worships the Lord. He knows very well that Krishna has the key to moksha. Krishna has the key to liberation. So he goes to Krishna and takes shelter of the Lord. And Krishna says that moksha se karma bandhanehi vimukto mamupashisi. Out of the 3 platforms, these platforms attain the vimukta platform. They attain liberation by taking help of Krishna, which means they mix bhakti into their jnana. So by mixing by mixing that bhakti and jnana together, they take help of Krishna and attain moksha. This is one category. Second category of jnanis come to Krishna. Actually, they are also impersonal, only second category also. But they come to Krishna for getting moksha, and they become so charmed by Krishna's qualities, they throw away the moksha out of the window. And they say, now we want to be your devotee. Examples, Vellumangal Thakur, Shukadeva Goswami, Chatushkumaras, And we can line up many more like this. And there are innumerable pastimes explained. Like Tasya Aravinda Nayanasya Padaravinda Kinjal Kamishra Tulasi Makaranda Vayu Antargataspa Vivarena Chakara Tesham Sanshobham Akshara Dusham Api Chitta Tanvo. Just I quoted one verse now, which is about the four Kumaras who smelled the fragrance of the tulsi leaf in the lotus feet of Lord Vishnu and became devotees. Their impersonal fixity was lost and they became loving servitors. So this second category of jnani who becomes a devotee. These two are good jnanis. One takes help of Krishna to get moksha, another one becomes a bhakta. But the third and fourth category people of jnanis are condemned. Why? Because they are called Mayavadis. Why they are called Mayavadis? Because these fellows, they consider Krishna to be impersonal. And they may be attracted to impersonal path, but they condemn the personal form. Like Krishna explains in 9.11 Bhagavad Gita, Avajananti Mam Mudha Manushim Tanumashritam. So this is one category of jnanis who actually condemn Krishna that Krishna's body is made up of flesh and bones like yours and mine. Like that they not only think, they even propagate it. They propagate this type of wrong philosophy. Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur in 4.9 Bhagavad Gita writes that these fellows who think Krishna's body to be material, they get material bodies again and again, birth after birth. And those who accept Krishna's body to be completely Satchidananda Vigraha spiritual, Tyaktva Deham Punarjanma Naiti, they don't take material bodies again. Rather, they go back to Godhead to see that spiritual form which they have been all the time contemplating about. They meet the Lord face to face in Goloka and join the pastimes. So, in this way, this is the third category is 9.11 Bhagavad Gita, who is a type of Mayavadi, who is actually Krishna Paradi, who considers Krishna's body to be material. And then there is another Mayavadi, fourth category, who is in the category of Ekatvena Pritatvena Bahuda Vishato Mukham. Jnana Yajnena Chapyanya Yajanto Mamupasate. In the first word, Ekatvena. He thinks that he is Supreme Brahman. He himself is Supreme Brahman. He thinks like that. Actually, here is where the Mayavada comes. So Shankaracharya, who actually is an incarnation of Lord Shiva, who appeared in the Kali Yuga on the order of the Lord, Kalau Brahmana Murtina, it is said, Mayavadam Asat Shastram Prachannam Bodhyam Uchyate, Mayeva Kalpitam Devi, Kalau Brahmana Murtina, it is said. So he came in this Kali Yuga. Why? To give this Mayavada. And what is this Mayavada? He gave three platforms. He gave Paramarthika, Vyavaharika, Pratibhashika. So he said, in the Pratibhashika platform is a material platform, and Vyavaharika platform is a platform where he said, you can think that the Chetan Jivas are all minute Jivas. They are like small particles in a conditioned stage. And they are struggling. They should do sadhana. They should do Murti Puja, they should do Mantra Ucharan, all those things they will do. And they will study the Shastra and all this Panchopasana they will do, worshipping 5 different gods in the Vyavaharika stage. In the Paramarthika stage, he said, it's like coming out of the Simha Swapnam. That if you see a lion in the dream, you are afraid. But when you wake up, you see there is no lion. Similarly, in the stage of Paramarthika, you realize you are only the Supreme Brahman. There is no difference between you and others. Like that he taught. Like that he said, that's Paramarthika stage. The Jiva realizes, I am not Jiva, I am only God. I am Supreme Brahman. This is Paramarthika. This is exactly called the Mayavadi. Actually, why he said that, there is a reason for this. Actually, we will be studying that in Prakashanand Saraswati's conversation, it will come. Actually, Shankara thought that if the Supreme Brahman undergoes transformation, then that is where the Vedanta says that he cannot undergo transformation. Therefore, he should remain in his stable state always. But we do find in this world the Chetan Jivas showing Vikar, Kama, Krodha, Madhulabha, Mohammed, Sarya. All these things have come in the Jivas. So how can the Supreme Brahman become impure? How is this possible? So they should not undergo. So what he did was, he gave these three platforms by which he said, let us assume on the Vyavaharika platform that when the Supreme Brahman touches Sattva, he becomes Vasudev. When he touches Rajoguna, he becomes Jiva. When he touches Tamoguna, he becomes three things. So, and then he said, this you just assume for the time being, he said, and then when you do sadhana and everything, you become completely purified. Then you attain Supreme Brahman, you understand that actually Jagat is Nitya only. Jagat doesn't exist only. This is his speculated philosophy called Mayavada. Because he wanted to keep the Supreme Brahman as it is, without any undergoing transformation. So, therefore, he said the transformation itself is illusion, according to him. There is no transformation, Supreme is as it is. All you see in this world, everything is illusion only. Like that, he said. So, this is what is called as Mayavad. Because of two very important reasons, this philosophy is extremely dangerous. Because this philosophy teaches the jivas that you are only God. It gives easy scope for the jivas to enjoy sense gratification in an exploitative manner without understanding the superiority of the Lord and our subordination to Him. This is the first dangerous thing. And the second dangerous thing with the Mayavad philosophy of considering oneself Vimukta Maninaha, Supreme Brahman. The Jiva has no impetus for doing sadhana at all. Because Jivas will think, I am only Supreme Brahman, I am only God. So they will give up all their sadhana and they will just be in the mood of a enjoyer themselves. And this, and also it is an aparadhi philosophy, because an offense to Lord Vasudeva. The truth is, however, different. The truth is called the truth is actually called Parinamavad, which is called the philosophy of transformation. I will explain what that is. Vaishnava philosophy now. See, there are two philosophies. Vivartavad, Shankaracharya's philosophy is called Vivartavad, and Vaishnava philosophy is called Parinamvad. But I will explain to you what is this Parinamvad in very easy terms. Parinamvad says the absolute truth does not undergo transformation. The absolute truth remains as it is. But the transformation happens not in the energetic, it happens in the energy. Because absolute truth has two, like sun and sunlight, and kasturi and the kasturi's fragrance. These two are two different things. So the beauty is what the Vedas explain, both Shakti Matayor Avedaha. They explain. That means Shakti and Shaktiman are inseparable. At the same time, the Shakti can undergo transformation, whereas Shaktiman does not undergo transformation. So now there are Abheda Vakyas in the scriptures. Sarvam Kalvamidam Brahma, like that is one Abheda Vakya. Brahmarpanam Brahma Havir Brahma Agno Brahmana Hutam Brahma Vatena Gantavyam Brahma Karma Samadhina. That was also. For example, the Brahmana chanting and reciting the mantras is Brahma. The mantra Ucharan is Brahma. Yajna Kund is Brahma. The Agni in the Yajna is Vishnu's tongue. That is Brahma. All the ingredients are Brahma. All are absolute Brahma. But they all have a variety. You can see that. That is unity in diversity. They all are Brahma at the same time. In Brahman also there is variety. You will see that. Like Prabhupada was speaking to Dr. Patel. He showed him the tree and said, what is the name of course, Prabhupada was telling, in a tree there are different parts of the tree, isn't it? But Patel is a Mayavadi. In Juhu, Prabhupada used to have heated arguments with him. Prabhupada showed him the flower in the tree and asked him, what is this? Patel understood, Swami is going to catch me now with Vaishnava philosophy. So he says, Prabhupada is saying flower and asking, what is this? He's saying, Swami, that is tree, he's saying. And Prabhupada showed the fruit and asked, what is this? Swami, that is tree. He showed the branch and asked, what is this tree? Prabhupada said, see what kind of rascal you are. Prabhupada said, see, I am showing a flower, you are calling it a tree. This is a flower. This is a fruit. This is a leaf. This is a branch. This is a stem. And the total thing you call as a tree. Similarly, absolute truth also has variety in it. You are trying to deny the variety and try to make it all flat and say everything is God. So, therefore, this is how the Mayavadis falsely argue. Now let's come to the Vaishnava philosophy of transformation, Parinamvad. The Vaishnava philosophy says that absolute truth is Purnam, and many things come from the absolute truth. But absolute truth remains Purnam. As you all know, Purnat Purnamudachyate. So many things can come out of absolute truth, but absolute truth is undisturbed. How? And three examples Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu gave. One example is touchstone. A touchstone produces a lot of gold. You touch a table, becomes gold. Touch a chair, becomes gold. Touch a cycle, becomes gold. Anything you touch with a touchstone becomes gold, but touchstone remains as it is. It remains as it is. Absolute truth is like that. It can produce many things and he can remain undisturbed with no vikar. Second example Mahaprabhu gave is sun. Sun is called Ashesha Teja. It is producing unlimited amount of sunlight. And nevertheless, the sun remains as it is, even after producing so much light. So it's not that absolute truth becomes ksheen or depleted by giving out so many things. He remains as it is. A third example he gave of a tree. A tree produces flowers, fruits, leaves. In one season you find the tree may completely appear to be shaven. All trees, flowers, fruits are gone. Again the leaves come again. Again fruits and flowers come again. The tree remains standing as it is. But it produces many, many things. And the tree does not get affected by it. Vrikshaiva stabdo dividishtatye kastenedam purnam purushena sarvam yasmat param na paramasti kinchit. Like the recites. Yasman naniyo joyosti kinchit vrikshaiva stab. Therefore, absolute truth is compared to vriksha. Even in the 15th chapter of Bhagavad Gita, upside down tree, urdhamula madashakam, is compared to tree. Because the tree remains undisturbed, but it produces flowers and fruits which coming. Absolute truth also has the ability to produce many, many things, but remain aloof because he has energy. Parasya Shakti Vividaiva Shriyate. And this is a beautiful Vaishnava philosophy of transformation, which says that absolute truth is not transformed, is Goloka Nivasati, and then Akhilatma Bhutto. He creates universes. Lord Vasudeva Krishna enters into all universes. Then he, within the universe, he creates millions of atoms and he enters into all the atoms. He creates 8.4 million species of life and he enters into heart of each of the living entities. And in this way, there is no place where he is not present. From everywhere, his eyes are watching, his ears are hearing, and he is present with you, present with me at every moment. We are in one sense inseparable from him at every moment. And that is Lord Vasudeva. And he creates his, through the energies, he makes all these transformations possible. This is a Parinamavad. So this is a correct Vedantic philosophy given by Veda Vyasa. The correct interpretation is Parinamavad. And the false interpretation given by Shankara is called as Vivartavad. So those who follow the Vivartavad philosophy, I was very fortunate in my life to be saved from this Vivartavad Mayavad philosophy because I have gone to a dozen organizations before coming to ISKCON society. And I was cheated by so many Mayavadi false books since my school days. And fortunately, by some unimaginable good fortune, I met Vaishnavas and I was saved from that false philosophy and brought to the correct understanding. So from that point of view, this pastime is very dear to my heart because I'm not somebody like the Prakash and Saraswati to be delivered. I'm an insignificant speck. Nevertheless, I would have become carried away by the current of this Mayavad philosophy if I didn't meet the devotees. So now we will enter the pastime. To summarize now what I told you till now, I told you the example of a sickly man as conditioned soul. There is one hand, Patel Prabhu has a question, it seems. Patel Prabhu raised the hand. You can ask question, I am ready.
I think you put it back down.
Okay. So first I told the example of a sickly man and convalescent period man and a healthy man. Similarly, the sickly are called conditioned souls and the convalescent period is jnanis and healthy, nicely eating and healthy, that is bhaktas. So in the material world are conditioned souls, in Brahma Jyoti are the convalescent period jnanis, and in the Vaikuntha or spiritual world are the healthy jivas, in full-blown health or spiritual health. They are Swarupa Siddhi, Mukti Ritva Anyata Rupam Swarupena Vyavasthiti. They are entering service. That's the first example we gave. And then after that, then we said about 4 types of jnanis, 2 good fellows, 2 bad fellows. And good fellows is one who depends on Lord for his mukti, accepting Lord's form, but he is more interested in mukti, just liberation. And second category of people, They fall in love with the Lord's form and they become bhaktas and enter the spiritual world. And other two category fellows, one thinks Krishna's body is material, other imagines he is a supreme himself. So after saying this, I told you about. Therefore, you will see in the 12th chapter, Et paksharamana desham abhyaktam pariyupasite sarvatra kama chintyamta kutastam achalam dhruvam sam niyam yendran driyagramam sarvatra samabuddhayah te prapnuvanti mameva sarvabhuta hite rataha klesho adhikatarastesham abhyakta sakta chetasam avyakta hi katir dukkam deha vadbhiravapyate, like the Krishna says. So he is also a good jnani because he comes back to Krishna finally. Initially, he takes shelter of Krishna for, he is thinking Krishna will give me mukti. Then eventually he comes to Krishna. And then, but he comes to Krishna after Bahunam Janmanamante. See, in India, foolish people think that bhakti is inferior to mukti. And same thing Prakashananda Saraswati also thought. He thought Lord Chaitanya is dancing and chanting with children and old people and women and illiterate people. He's like a sentimental fool, like that he blasphemed Lord Chaitanya. And we are very learned Vedantists. We are sitting together and studying Vedanta. Why does Lord Chaitanya not study? Like that he criticized. And hearing this, the Maharashtrian Brahmana who had gone to Prakashananda Saraswati and who had actually praised about Lord Chaitanya, he told one great sannyasi has come. His eyes are like lotus petals. His body is so tender with beautiful limbs. He is golden in complexion. He is dancing and singing so beautifully. When he dances, all the Ashtasattva Vikara, 8 manifestations are seen in his body. Tears are welling up in his eyes and hair is standing on end. Bhakti Paravasha is seen. And I saw it with my eyes. And my heart is becoming jubilant. Like that he came and expressed to Prakashananda Saraswati. Prakashananda Saraswati exhibited envy. He said, what are you talking about this sannyasi? He is simply a sentimental fool. He is chanting and dancing. He is actually initiated in our Sampradaya, Mayavada Sampradaya from Keshav Bharati, in Mayavada school. Why should he not come and sit down with all of us and study Vedanta like we are studying? Why is he doing this? Like that, Prakashananda Saraswati was asking about Mahaprabhu. So, because of such wrong notions, the impersonalists consider bhaktas to be sentimental and themselves to be more advanced. But we as devotees, we should not even have an iota of doubt about the superiority of Bhakti Yoga over Jnana Yoga. So I am going to tell you a couple of shlokas. It is said, Bahunam Janmanamante Jnanavan Mam Prapadyate. After many, many lifetimes, Jnani comes to the correct conclusion. Vasudeva Sarvamiti. Krishna is all that is. For example, Jnanis are asking, you're telling Jnanis, this is the nose, they won't agree. They will find out, figure out themselves. They will say, is this the nose? No. Is this the nose? No. Is this the nose? No. After many, many lifetimes, then they'll, now this is the nose, they'll find out. After many, many lifetimes. Bahu Ram Janma Namante, then they find out Krishna. Because but bhaktas find it very easily just by accepting the Guru Parampara. Avrohan Panth, they accept. Evam Parampara Praptam. You see? Jnanis take a long route. So another example Bhaksan Thakur gives. Once a son-in-law went to meet his father-in-law because his wife had gone there for a month. So he wanted to pick her up and come. So when he went to the village, unfortunately, he forgot the house. But he was too shy to ask anybody because people will criticize, no? Hey, you don't know your father-in-law's house? What kind of man you are? So he felt very uneasy. So then he thought, oh, here are the cows grazing. They are all my father-in-law's cows only. If I catch tail of one of them, I will reach the home without anybody's help. Like that he thought. So he caught hold of the tail of one of the cows. And cow out of great fear started running. And you see in villages there are sandy roads, bumpy roads. So the cow was running and he was up and down and hitting the road and he got bruises all over his body. At last the cow ran to the exact house of his father-in-law and stood outside. And a lot of people around saw that this fellow is catching the tail of the cow. He must be a cattle thief. They took a stick and started beating him like that. And that fellow was screaming and father-in-law came out. He saw him, my son-in-law is in a pathetic situation. He told all the people, please save him, don't beat him. He's my son-in-law, he said. So Prabhupada says, this is how jnanis find out how to go back to Godhead. Klesho adhikatarastesham. Avyakta asakta chetasam. See, the easiest way to find out is ask your authority, the Guru Parampara Acharyas. They will tell you how to reach back home, back to Godhead. Just ask Sri Prabhupada through his books. and his followers, the spiritual masters, they will escort us. We have to simply become apprentice under them. They will take us back to Godhead. Just catch the dhoti from behind and they will take you back. Instead of that, we try to figure out ourselves foolishly like the jnanis, then we have to klesho adhikatarastesham. It's a very arduous path, a difficult path, like that he says. So don't try to see the truth. Etotpadiya charanam, and not that one. Next one. Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase shrute kshitapato nanunata pumsam. Like that it says in the first two lines. See what he says? Tvam bhakti yoga paribhavita hrit saroja ase. Lord resides in the lotus heart of his devotee. How? Shruta ikshita nanunata pumsam. He's saying Shruta means hear, ikshita means see. We should first hear from Guru Parampara and then see the absolute truth, not speculate about the absolute truth. So how do we do that? Like imagine you go to your chemistry laboratory, you find a glass kept there. Looks like lemon juice. It's a hot sunny day. You wish to immediately take and drink it. Will you do it? In order to substantiate that it is lemon juice, you also find 2 lemon pieces are squeezed and put by the side of the glass. And you're pretty confident. See, the lemon pieces are here. The water is also not plain. It looks a little dull color. Must be lemon juice. It must be a lemon juice. You speculate about it. But then you're just about to drink it. You just ask the laboratory man, hey, is it lemon juice? I'm very thirsty. Can I drink it? He may tell you, sir, don't touch it. This is acid. If you put in your tongue, you will have a hole in your tongue. He tells you, and you're shocked. Thank God you told me. But why do you say it's not lemon juice? Lemon pieces are here. He may say, sir, I just now finished my lunch and I prepared the acid for the experiment. He may say that. So therefore, you should hear from him and know what it is. Don't see it and know, because eyes are deceptive. So therefore, we should hear in Guru Parampara and not speculate about God. Don't speculate about the lemon juice or the acid. Better ask. So Arjuna asked questions to Krishna and got the answers. Parikshit asked questions to Shukadeva Goswami and got answers. Authoritative knowledge comes in Guru Parampara, Vaishnava Guru Parampara. Gurus who can see, they will, Tattvadarshis, they will tell us. And then when we hear it and apply it, then we will also see the truth eventually. So that is the Vaishnava part. So in this way, now I'm going to share something on the screen with you. We will go a little faster now. Now I'm showing you notes that I made yesterday. I mean, last few days I've been making this so that certain specific things I can show you. See, Chandrasekhar and Tapan Mishra are living in Varanasi. You see how they lament here, you will see that. You see, Chandrasekhar is telling, my dear Lord, you have bestowed your costless mercy upon, you all can see it, right, Prabhu?
Yes, Prabhu.
Yeah. Chandrasekhar Vaidya is telling, you have bestowed your costless mercy upon me because I am your old servant. Indeed, you have come here just to give me your audience. Due to my past misdeeds, I am living in a place like Varanasi. I don't hear any Krishna's holy name. Everywhere I am hearing Maya, Brahman and all these things. And everybody's talking 6 philosophical treatises, you see. So, and he says, thank you very much for sending Tapan Mishra. Because Tapan Mishra left Bangladesh and came to Varanasi on the order of Lord Chaitanya. Because of his presence here, we both are getting each other's association. And we are getting Krishna Katha to share. Because of thinking of your lotus feet incessantly, we are maintaining our lives in Varanasi, like that he said. And Tapan Mishra also says, my dear Lord, as long as you remain in Varanasi, don't eat in anybody else's house. You should every day take in my house only. So Lord denied all the other Brahmanas and told them, sorry, I have already a host who is giving me prasadam. And Mahaprabhu secretly thought in his mind, in Varanasi, I won't eat in anybody's house, all are Mayavadis. If you eat grains from the hand of a Mayavadi, you will also become Krishna Paradi. So Mahaprabhu avoided all of this. Then one Maharashtra Brahmana, I told you, he had observed Mahaprabhu's chanting and dancing in Varanasi, and he saw Lord's personal beauty and manifestations of ecstatic love. And he was thrilled. And then he's going to Prakashananda Saraswati and telling here, as you see here. His wonderful attributes and influence are indescribable and all that. He's going and explaining. His arm is extending up to his knees. He is like a Mahapurusha. So he looks like Narayana himself. And people consider Narayana, he is so exalted soul. Like that he says, his tongue always chants the holy name. So then Prakash blasphemed, as I told you. So he says that Sarvabhattacharya was a very learned scholar, but must understand that he has also become a madman due to Chaitanya's association. He's like a first-class magician, and he's sannyasi in name only, and all that he says. Don't go to see that sannyasi. Continue hearing the Vedanta Sutra. Don't associate with upstarts. Like that, Prakashan says, the blasphemes Mahaprabhu. And then Maharaj and Brahman becomes very broken-hearted, actually, because he's a devotee. So he actually, while hearing Prakash and Saraswati blasphemy, he said, Krishna, 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 like that he's saying. What are you saying? He's Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, what a wonderful personality he is. Why are you talking ill of him like this? He is unable to tolerate. So now the Brahmana comes back to Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and narrated everything about what happened with Prakash and Saraswati. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu mildly smiled, that's all. And then Maharashtra Brahman said, as soon as I told about your holy name, my Lord, he is unable to utter the name, full name Krishna Chaitanya. 3 times he was using your name, Chaitanya, Chaitanya, Chaitanya. But names like Hari, names like Vishnu or Krishna doesn't come out of his mouth. I don't know why. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu said, see, Mayavadis are Krishna Paradis. They only talk about the Chaitanya Jeev, Atma. But they don't talk about the Supreme Lord Krishna or Hari. So then he says like that, Mayavadi impersonalists are great offenders unto Lord Krishna. Although they utter words like Brahman, Atma, Chaitanya and all, they can't utter the name of the Lord Krishna, because Krishna and his name are identical. So they can't utter. So, but if impersonalist jnanis come in contact with Krishna's loving service, his relishable leelas and all, then they will become pure devotees one day, like example Shukadeva Goswami and 4 Kumaras, like that Mahaprabhu said. However, because Mayavadis are great offenders and atheists, even if that's a good opportunity, the holy name of Krishna does not come from their mouths. But they have to actually, you see, Mayavadis have only one hope, which is the devotees. They have to associate with devotees inoffensively. Somehow or other, if a impersonalist develops appreciation for a devotee, then there is a little hope that he may give up the impersonalism and he may pick up devotional service. So, otherwise, like Shukadeva Goswami heard the glories of Lord Krishna in the forest. Barha Pidam Natavara Karnayor Karnikaram Vibrat Vasa Kanaka Kapisham Vaijayantim Chamalam Randran Venu Radara Sudaya Purayan Gopa Vrindait Vrindaranyam Swapada Ramanam Pravishad Gita Kirtihi. He sang. I mean, he didn't sing. I mean, one woodcutter was singing in the forest. He heard it. The meaning of the song is, oh, that Lord who has curly locks of hair, who has a beautiful peacock feather and plays the flute and produces a great charm in the hearts of all living entities around. His covered by friends are surrounding him and praising him. And he's surrounded by cows and calves. And he goes for herding the cows and returns back in the evening. It's so charming to look at. Is there anyone more attractive than him? So this is one of the prayers. Another prayer is Ahobakiyam prayer about Putana. So he heard these 2 prayers. Lord Krishna attracts the jivas by 2 things. Rasika Shekara Krishna Parama Karuna Yeyi Dugi Hetu Hete Premara Udgama. It is said. The love arises in the heart of the jivas because of 2 reasons. One is Krishna's charming potency, attractive potency. Secondly, because of Krishna's compassion. All of you ask yourself, what attracts you to Krishna? Is Krishna's sportive nature, playful nature, naughty nature, mischievous nature attracts you? Then study more and more pastimes of Krishna and become charmed by him. Or if Krishna's compassion potency attracts you, compassionate nature, Bhuri Karunaya attracts you, then study pastimes of Krishna where he showed compassion to everybody. You see, he showed compassion to Aghasura. I was shocked. How can he give Aghasura Swarupa Siddhi? He's a Asura. I was thinking, generally Vishnu liberates and sends them to Brahma Jyoti where Mayavadis go. I mean, Jnanis go. But why did Lord send Aghasura to spiritual world? I really wanted to research out and find. And I found that 3 reasons why Aghasura was given Swarupa Siddhi. In the spiritual world, he was taken back. One reason is when he came to Vrindavan and looked at Krishna, the big snake, actually assumed the form of a big snake with mouth wide open, one touching the clouds and one touching the ground, made a rose color road, highway. Have you ever seen a highway rose in color? Generally, you find only black in color or cement color. Huh? So he put a rose color road, and all the covered boys walked in, and he was waiting for Krishna. And this fellow was saying, "This is the fellow who killed my sister Putna and brother Bakasura. Along with all the covered boys, I will devour him today. And in this way, I'll be able to pacify my dead sister and brother," he was telling. So what a funny thing. Krishna didn't go to Mathura to kill his sister and brother. They came to Vrindavan to trouble Krishna, therefore Krishna had to kill them. But he is speaking as if Krishna is creating them trouble. And so he was looking at Krishna, staring with his two eyes, unblinking eyes for a prolonged period of time. And Krishna considered that as one qualification. So you go and stand in front of the deity with unblinking eyes and keep on looking at Krishna. It's one of your special qualifications for attaining Krishna, you see. And the second reason is Aghasura took Krishna inside his mouth and kept him. So Krishna thought, I have gone inside his mouth and sanctified his mouth and purified his mouth and removed the fishy smell, and I gave the fragrant smell to him. So that is second reason. Similarly, we are also taking holy name inside our mouth. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Ram, Hare Hare. Only thing is we have to hold the holy name. We should not spit it out like Bakasura. Aghasura was holding, Bakasura was spitting. See, we also sometimes stand 1 or 2 rounds and get up and walk here, run here, and then we spit out the holy name. Therefore, we don't attain Krishna Prema very quickly. So we have to hold the holy name. Like if you have a plate of prasadam, after you eat, your hands are dry, plate is dry. You cannot wash it immediately, but fill it up with water, overflood it with water and leave it for half an hour. Come back and see, it will easily come out because it is holding the water, it got cleansed. Heart which is holding Krishna will get cleansed very easily. So in this way, that is second qualification of Aghasura. Third qualification of Aghasura is his body became dried up, and just like our Disney World or SL World, you see huge things for children to play. Like that, Krishna's friends got a very good place for playing. Krishna looked at his friends, oh, they are enjoying the dried up body of Aghasura because he is giving delight to my devotees. I should take him back to spiritual world. So for these three reasons, Krishna took him back to spiritual world, how compassionate he is. So in this way, we can be charmed by Krishna's compassionate nature. So Shukadeva Goswami returned back home from the forest and heard the whole Srimad Bhagavatam from his father. Acharyam Aditavan, he says, I sat under the feet of the Acharya and I heard. And although I became a Parinishitopi Nairgunye, although I have become perfected in my jnana process, I heard from my father. Same will happen to Prakash Ananda now. He will hear from Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu and then he will get transformed. And that is the only way for the impersonalist to have a heart transformation. And Krishna is merciful, Krishna is beautiful. Both are there. And because Krishna is very all attractive, we have to develop laulyam to attain him. Like for example, if a girl is very beautiful or boy is very handsome, the other person may develop a great intense greed to attain them, is it not? Similarly, Krishna is all attractive, sportive, charming. Lakshmi ji develops a greed to dance with him in Rasa dance. So we also have to develop the greed to attain him. And because Krishna is very compassionate, so we also should agree to make an endeavor to attain him. Which means compassionate means he's throwing a rope into the well, saying, pick up the rope. So we have to make effort to pick up the rope. Yatantascha dadavrataha. So he is throwing rope, pick up the rope by endeavor. He is all attractive, develop a greed to attain him. So reciprocate with these two qualities. Then we can very easily attain Krishna. So in this way, now let us go further. So, yeah, like the Mahaprabhu said. And then after saying this, Mahaprabhu accepted the Maharashtrian Brahmana as his personal associate. And after rising very early in the next morning, Lord went away from Mathura. He didn't deliver Prakashan Saraswati at that time. When the return journey only, he delivered him. So if you want to know where is that return journey, that is coming in the Adi Leela, which I am going to show you now. You are able to see now?
Yes.
Or I think Adi Leela I am showing.
Yeah, we can see the slide.
Yeah. Okay, this is in this chapter, Lord Chaitanya and 5 features. You see, this is Adi Lila chapter 7. Hmm. From there, now I'll recite a few verses and we'll go ahead. Hmm. Here, if you see here, yeah, see here, verse number 23 is shown here. Patra patra vichara nahi nahi sthana sthana ye yaha paya taha kare premadan. So in the 23rd verse it is said, not consider who was fit recipient and who was not, and nor where such distribution should or should not take place. Wherever they got opportunity, they distributed love of God. They practiced this bhakti path in great ecstasy, danced, cried, laughed, and chanted like madmen. They broke the seal of the storehouse of transcendental love of Krishna Prema, Premara Bandhar, and they were distributing it everywhere freely. There was no scarcity. The flood of Prema swelled, and Panchatattva became exceedingly happy everywhere. Jagat dubila jiver haila vijanasha taha deki panchajanere parama ullasa. They became very jubilant. The seed of material enjoyment, watered by the course of material nature, fructifies to become a tree of the material entanglement. However, the seed of, this is a very important thing, what he is saying here. See, the kama karma bijas, which are stored in our heart, they are the ones which are, they are pushing us to perform sinful activity. And the sinful activity brings suffering for us. So when we do yajna tapa, sufferings are mitigated. When we practice jnana, then sinful activities can be stopped. But the kutam and the bijam, these two things are very difficult to eradicate. Kutam is actually propensity, sinful propensity. And bijam is a sinful material desire seed. And they keep on multiplying. Like imagine somebody gives you one neem seed. You sow it and grow a neem tree, thousands of neem seeds come. And they tell you, you have to eat all the seeds. How will you feel? How painful it will be to eat all this dirty, bitter seeds like that. But good news for us is, these seeds can be eradicated in 2 ways. Either by bhakti bliss you flood them, or by jnana you burn them. Divya jnana, sambandha jnana. By sambandha jnana you can fry them. Fried seeds will not germinate. Drowned seeds will rot. They will also not germinate. And that's what we should do. With bhakti bliss, we should drown them. Tadvire gayana mahamata magna chitta. That's one method. Prahlad Maharaj says. Similarly, Dhruva also says that. Bhakti muhu prabhatam tavime prasango bhuyadananta mahatam amalashayanam yenanja solbana maru vesanam bhavabdim neshye bhavad gunakatam mritapanamattah. Same thing. Neshye bhavad gunakatam mritapanamattah. I am maddened by the ecstasy of your love. So the kama karma bijas cannot do anything for such a devotee. He is drowning the seeds in the bliss of bhakti. And jnana means yataidamsi samidongnir basmasat kurute arjuna jnana vidagda karmanam basmasat kurute tata. Says. So we can burn away by the jnana fire. Another verse. Yasya sarve samaramba kama sankalpa varjitaha jnana vidagda karmanam tamahu panditam buddha. If a shishya, disciple, faithfully serves the spiritual master and accepts the divya jnana from him and accepts it in his life and practices, gives away all the fruits to the guru. He is never entangled. All his karma bandhana is burnt away, he says. So that's what is mentioned here. And what I'll show you again. Yeah. Jagat dubila jivera haila bijanasha. Taha deki panchajane parma ullas. They became very happy. Still there were some people who were expert in avoiding Mayavadis, karmanishtas, kutargikas, nindakas, pashindis, adama, paduviyas, all of them. Therefore Lord accepted sannyas. And then after taking sannyas also, again he drowned many more people. But in Mayavadi, Varanasi sannyasis are all blasphemers. And then it comes here again. Here Mahaprabhu was also thinking that how to pacify Tapan Mishra and Chandrasekhar Vaidya, as well as the Maharashtrian Brahmana. All are lamenting. I should pacify them. If I can get a chance to meet the Mayavadis, it will be nice. Like that Mahaprabhu was thinking. At that time, the Maharashtrian Brahmana, he also got the same idea because Lord Chaitanya is in the heart of everybody as Super Soul. He inspired the Brahmana that arrange a program where you call Mayavadis and me. So Brahmana invited. And then in his house, Mahaprabhu, you see, this is speciality of Mahaprabhu. You see in the picture, Mahaprabhu washed his feet in one place and sat in the same place, foot washing place. And all the sannyasis saw him from a distance. See, and Mahaprabhu also immediately expanded his effulgence million times more because he knows Mayavadis are very attracted to effulgence. So when they saw the bright effulgence in his face and body, they became charmed by it. See, Bhaktas are attracted to Krishna's beauty and Mayavadis are attracted to Krishna's, effulgence. And the Karmis are attracted to Krishna's illusory potency. In the non-devotees. And they are charmed with the Krishna's illusory presentation. You see, everybody is attracted to something. Nobody can say, I'm not attracted to anything. So Mahaprabhu knew how to attract these fellows. And so he attracted them in his own way by increasing his effulgence. And another important thing, Priti Purna Vyavahar and Yukti Purna Prachar. You can see Mahaprabhu very humbly and in a polite manner he dealt with them. By sitting in that place, immediately he softened the heart of the Mayavadis. And the leader of the Mayavadis, Prakashananda, came running there and said, hey Chaitanya, why are you sitting here in the washing place? You are also one of the sannyasis. In fact, you belong to our school, Mayavada school. You've taken Diksha from Keshava Bharati Sampradaya. Come and sit with all of us and discuss Vedanta. Why do you sit here? And still, Nimai Pandit didn't get up. So he caught him by the hand. That is how Mahaprabhu intelligently made him render some seva. He's rendering some service. And then Mahaprabhu said, I belong to loyal order of sannyas. I can't sit with all of you. He said, and then they said, why don't you associate with us? Come. And then he took him. Yeah. And then when he sat with them, then they asked him this question. They asked him, why didn't you sit with all of us? Now he came and sat with them here. You see the picture. He's sitting with all of them. Okay. But then all the sannyasis were asking him a question. Actually, the best thing I love in this pastime is, look at the sannyasis. They are willing to listen to him. If only we can listen to a Vaishnava, we'll become a devotee, you see. If we don't listen to the Vaishnavas, we become independent minded, then we never attain perfection in life, you see. They asked the question, my dear sir, why did you study Vedanta? Why do you engage in Sankirtan, chanting and dancing? Please tell us. And then he said, you see, it's my order of my Guru. My Guru saw me. And Guru told me, like I will show you here, there is not much. I will show you the text. I will show you just a minute. The text file I will show you. Showing Mahaprabhu speaking here. So here is, okay, Prakashan serves Mahaprabhu and gets Kripa. And then, see, Prakashan Saraswati is asking question about meditation, study of Vedanta are the sole duties of a sannyasi. Why do you abandon these in order to engage in your Sankirtan movement? You look as brilliant as if you are Narayana himself, then why have you adopted this behavior of low-class people? And then Mahaprabhu is saying here, you see, my dear sir, kindly hear the reason for this. My Guru considered me to be a fool, and he said, you are a fool, Murkha. Guru Mora, Murkha Deki Karila Shasan, he said, you are not qualified to study Vedanta philosophy, and therefore you must always chant the holy name Krishna, for it is the essence of the Vedic mantra. See what Mahaprabhu is indirectly telling them. He is not calling them, you guys are fools. He is actually subtly telling them that if you study Vedanta without surrendering to Krishna, the very same words of Vedanta may be bewildering to you because Vedas are very deep. You will not be able to figure out the truth yourself. Number one, you have to faithfully follow the Guru. Number two, one has to chant the holy names of the Lord. Simply by chanting the holy name of Krishna, one can attain freedom from bondage to material existence. Indeed, simply by chanting Hare Krishna mantra, a person will one day be able to see the lotus feet of the Lord. In this age of Kali, there is no other religious principle than chanting the holy name. Hare Nameva Kevalam, that verse he told them. And then the result of chanting is you laugh, cry, dance, and sing like a madman. Like the Bhagavatam says, Evam Pratasva Priyanama Kirtya Jatanurago Chitta Uchaihi Evam Hasati Roti Tirauti Gayati Unmada Vandritya Tiloka Bahya. In this. And the Mahaprabhu approached his Guru and told him, Kiva Mantra Tila Gosai Kivatara Bal, Japita Japita Hoila Pagal. He said, by chanting the mantra, now I am going mad. I am crying, laughing, shouting, yelling, rolling on the ground. What is this, Guruji? Guruji said, my dear child, you attained the ultimate perfection of prema in your life by performing Sankirtan. You have achieved perfection. This is what everybody is supposed to achieve. And go on doing this, Guru said. Hearing this, Mayavadi sannyasis were moved by Mahaprabhu's reply. Why they were very moved? There is a reason for it. Because, you see, Mayavadi started, we are studying so much Vedanta and we are feeling very dry. And our hearts are becoming more morose. We aren't getting any sweetness. While Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is getting the honey like realizations. Pratyaksha avagamam dharmyam suzukam kartam avyayam. So therefore, the mild sannyasis felt that we have made a big mistake. See, at least the impersonalists should come to the platform, in the preliminary platform of thinking that if I chant the holy name of the Lord and if I worship the deity, I can get moksha, at least. And then eventually they will understand moksha is peanuts, good for nothing. Kaivalyam narakayati. That realization will come later. So at least in the beginning, one can consider that, if I chant the holy name of the Lord inoffensively, accept him to be supreme, and he will give me moksha. At least that much they should come to that platform at least. And these Mayavadis felt that we are missing out something which this fellow is getting, and this fellow has, and they all felt ashamed after hearing that. Yeah. So Mahaprabhu told Prakashana the two instructions. Always discuss Srimad Bhagavatam and chant the holy name of Krishna. Nirantara kara Krishna nama sankirtana helaye mukti pave prema dhana. Like that he said. So then they told him, they Krishna Chaitanya, what you said is certainly correct, we agree. Only one who is extremely fortunate attains love of God. No objection in what you are saying. But at the same time, why don't you study, discuss Vedanta Sutra? And Mahaprabhu explained that, yeah. Mahaprabhu saying, okay. And then Mahaprabhu is saying here, Mahaprabhu is defeating the Gauna Vritti, Mukhya Vritti. Two things comes here. This will require a little explanation. So we are only running short of time. In a couple of minutes, I will say about this Mukhya Vritti, Gauna Vritti. Mukhya Vritti means direct meaning of the Vedanta. The Vedanta says, Brahmanyo Devaki Putraha. The Supreme Lord comes as the son of Devaki. Om Shri Krishnaya Namaha. Om Sachidananda Rupaya. Like that the Gopal Tapani Upanishad says, the Supreme Lord has Sachidananda form. And if you see, there are many Upanishadic quotes. Recently, I was fortunate to receive the dozen Upanishads commentaries written by His Holiness Bhanuswami Maharaj. I'm using them now in many of my Ishopanishad lectures. I'm using them now. So, as Vaishnavas, if we can take the Vaishnava commentaries of Upanishads and use it for preaching to Mayavadis, many of them will turn to become Vaishnavas. That's one of the secrets, actually, because they have more faith in Shruti mantras. In Vaishnavas, in Ishopanishad and other Upanishads also. See, in Upanishads, you can say there are two birds sitting in a tree. Samane Vrikshe Purusho Navaguna Anishe Sati Mukhyamana. It says, Jushati, Pashyati, it says that Jushatam Pashyati Vita Shokha, it says. If the fruit-eating bird looks at the other bird, Jushtam Pashyati Vita Shokha, it says. If he understands that the other bird is very happy, silent, he turns to him, then he also becomes very peaceful, he says. Understanding him to be the enjoyer. So that is one Upanishadic verse. Nityo Nityanam Chetana Chetananam. That verse also talks about singular supreme and plural subordinates. We should quote these type of shlokas from Upanishads. Another one, Kena Upanishad, talks about the story of Supreme Lord becoming like a yaksha and proving to all devatas that there is one supreme and plural subordinates. So we should quote such kinds of things to clearly show the bheda between the Supreme Lord and the jivas. Like 15.7 Bhagavad Gita, Mame Vamsha Jiva Loke. That kind of quotes we can show from Upanishads also. So, and then Mahaprabhu explains that we have 4 defects because of which we should not try to interpret and give the Gauna Vritti, whereas the Mukhya Vritti we should give. He said, but then the Mayavadis gave indirect meaning to Vedanta by explaining the Vivarta philosophy. Like that he explains. Parimana, I already told you in the beginning. Parinamavad and Vivartavad, already I told you. All those are explained here. Therefore, I explained in the beginning. Otherwise, if we suddenly say this, it may be mind-boggling. And Mahaprabhu gave the direct meaning. They all asked him, sir, can you tell the direct meaning? And then Mahaprabhu told them the direct meaning. Mayavadis became very happy with the Vaishnava meaning. Everybody chanted Krishna, Krishna. And the Varanasi residents praised Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And Lord very politely changed their minds and instructed them to chant Hare Krishna mantra. After that, hundreds of thousands of people assembled to know that the impersonalists have changed to become Vaishnavas. Everybody chanted Hari Hari, and Lord also conducted Sankirtan. And one senior disciple of Prakashananda Saraswati glorified Chaitanya Mahaprabhu like anything. And then after that, even Prakashananda Saraswati admitted. And this was not in the presence of Mahaprabhu. This happened actually after Mahaprabhu had left them. So I can send the notes to Santana Krishna Prabhu. He will give all of you, can go through it. The last part is a very sweet ending, which I want to show you. Mahaprabhu actually had gone to Bindu Madhava temple and he was doing a Jubilean Kirtan there. Haraye Nama Krishna Yadavaya Namaha Gopal Govinda Ram Sri Madhusudana. All the people of Varanasi participated. Therefore, even today, dear devotees, go to Varanasi, you will hear Kirtan even today in many places. As soon as I got on Varanasi station, I heard Kirtans. I could understand that Varanasi is not the same Mayavadi Varanasi. Now there are also many devotees there. So that is because of Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu's influence there. And Prakashananda Saraswati's Matha was nearby. So he heard the tumultuous Kirtan. Immediately he also came to see Mahaprabhu along with his thousands of disciples at the Bindu Madhava temple. You see, at that time, one amazing thing happened. Lord Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, although he is Supreme Personality of Godhead, Krishna himself, as soon as he saw the bodily transformations, Mahaprabhu was dancing. So Mahaprabhu fell at the feet of Prakashananda Saraswati in order to inspire him with his humility. And Prakashananda Saraswati also immediately fell at the feet of Mahaprabhu. See the picture here. He fell at his feet and said, "My dear sir, the Chaitanya Mahaprabhu is telling, no, you are the Jagat Guru. You are actually not even disciples of your disciples. I don't deserve you to fall at my feet and clasp my feet like this." Mahaprabhu denied such a worship. And then Prakashananda replied, "Formerly I committed many offenses by blaspheming you, but now their actions have been nullified because I have touched your feet, even liberated soul falls down." And thus once again, so he said, "I have committed many offenses, please forgive me." See the beauty. See, he is surrendering to Mahaprabhu. And he became a devotee. He's crying tears. See, he is actually bathing Mahaprabhu's feet with his tears. How fortunate soul he is. In this way, he became a devotee with all his followers. So, again, I asked him to describe the Vedanta Sutra more. He wanted to hear. And Mahaprabhu elaborately described it. And the Maharashtra Brahmana has told, do you know that Mahaprabhu explained Chatusloki to him very elaborately. And he told that, Maharashtra Brahman told, Atmarama verse, Mahaprabhu has explained in 61 meanings. And then Mahaprabhu again explained to them 61 meanings. In this way, Mahaprabhu delivered them all, and they were now completely impressed with Mahaprabhu's deep understanding. They all became Vaishnavas. And Mahaprabhu laughingly told his associates, "I came here to Varanasi to sell my ecstatic love. I thought I have to carry this heavy burden goods back. But then devotees told, you have delivered everywhere. Now, finally, Lord delivered the Mayavadis and sold his goods free of cost," he said. "I have given them to all." Yeah. So in this way, Mahaprabhu delivered all the Vaishnavas of, all the Mayavadis of Varanasi. So this section, the same thing what I spoke, I briefly explained to you, because it's a very exhaustive pastime. It will take many classes. If you ask Amarendra Prabhu to speak, he can speak 25 classes on this, like he spoke the Damodar Leela. So in 1 hour to finish, it's beyond the scope. But I think I have given a glimpse of the pastime, I believe. So all right, Prabhu. So thank you all very much for the opportunity you gave me and remembering the sweet pastimes of Lord Chaitanya and to purify my heart. And Atlanta, I have been connecting with Atlanta, Satyasar Prabhu, our Vedasar Prabhu before also. I remember coming once before in another occasion also. And Adigadada Prabhu, I think at that time I had arranged it. So Amarendra Prabhu and Adigadada Prabhu, my dear friends in Atlanta there. And now I am getting to know many more devotees. Very happy to be with all of you. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Radhesham Prabhu, for this very Very beautiful, scholarly, detailed yet very lucid and quick overview of the topics allotted to you. Very grateful, Prabhu. And we can't wait to have you in Atlanta very soon.
Actually, I was thinking when I come to US in my round trip to US, I'll make a visit because Atlanta, I heard, is very successful in devotee making. Recently, I was hearing about one of the interviews of Vedasar Prabhu about how they preach and make devotees, and very, very beautiful project, very nice preaching going on there. I will, no, I will not come to give a lecture, but I'll come as a learner to pick up some nice tips from there when I come. Thank you very
Actually,
much.
Vesar Prabhu is actually on a flight, so he couldn't make it. I just
Okay.
had a message from him. He wants to convey his heartfelt regards.
Prabhu,
And
yourself, your good name?
I am Sadananda Ramachandra Das.
Okay. You are the one. Okay. You wrote me mail. You wrote me, isn't it?
Yes, Prabhu. So we were extremely grateful. I know that you have to attend your morning program as well
Yeah. Yes,
next
Prabhu, yeah.
few minutes.
Yes,
So we
Prabhu.
are extremely grateful to you, waking up this early in the morning. We know how your sadhana is. So we're extremely grateful that you took out time early in the morning to enlighten us on this amazing topic. As you said, it's a very large topic, and
So I will mail these notes to you. You can share it with the devotees.
definitely, Prabhu, definitely.
Thank you.
So
Thank you.
thank you so much. Hare Krishna.
Vancha kalpatarubhyascha kripasnibhyo eva cha patitanam pavanebhyo vaishnavebhyo namo namah ananta koti vaishnava vrinda ki
Jai. His Grace
Jai
Adesham
Prabhupada
Prabhu ki
ki,
Jai.
Jai Shri
Prabhupada ki.
Prabhupada. Jai. Hare Krishna. So, moving on to the next part of our program, we just have a few announcements to make, and then we should be done. And then we have our Narsimha prayers as well. So, next week, we have His Grace Arjun Saka Prabhu, who is the brother of Amarendra Prabhu, who will be speaking on Srimad Bhagavatam and why to study the Vedanta Sutra, which are the next two chapters in the list. So please do tune in next week. We should be having the program same time at 4:30 p.m. EST, and the details will be coming out through the rest of this week. Also, the upcoming festivals are Govinda Masa, which began yesterday. We also have Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur's appearance day, which is on 3rd March. We have Ekadashi on the 8th of March. 11th of March is Shivaratri, and the 13th of March is Jagannath Das Babaji's disappearance day. Also, we have a new ISKCON Atlanta media page where you have all the different links that are associated with our temple. And at a one-click access, you have the website, Facebook, Instagram, YouTube, WhatsApp group joining link. Also, the Sunday Feast playlist, Dekhi Darshan link. So the link is right below here. It is linktree/ISKCON Atlanta. You can just note it down. We'll probably be sending this out on the groups as well. We request everyone to check out our social media pages, follow them, subscribe to them, share them. It would be extremely useful to us. All our videos will be put up on YouTube. They're also on Facebook for viewing later on as well. Special prayers required for Nandanandan Prabhu, Sikhi Mahiti Prabhu, Govardhan Leela Mataji, Gansham Prabhu, Britarupa Prabhu, Padmanabha Prabhu, and Gaurang Giridhari Prabhu. As many of you know, the devotees at the temple had contacted COVID, so we request prayers for all of them so that they may recover quickly. Sikhi Mahiti Prabhu and Govardhan Leela Mataji have tested negative, but we still require prayers for them so that they may completely be healthy as well. Also, the doctors who are fighting COVID-19, and also those who we haven't been able to mention who have been affected by COVID-19. We request prayers for all of them. Another announcement, as you all know, Gaur Purnima is coming up on March 28th. We have His Grace Amarendra Prabhu who will be speaking that day. More details of the program should follow. We are also planning a major festival. Obviously, it will be mostly virtual, but we will keep you updated on that. Today, so let's actually chant before we get on to the chanting the Narsimha prayers by our singer today, who will be Krishna. We'll just chant the Hare Krishna Mahamantra 3 times before we get on to that, so that all these devotees may recover quickly. And everyone who requires prayers, I had mentioned before, you can send your message to me if you want to put up message for prayers and things like that, and we can take it from there. So Hare Krishna,
Hare Krishna, Hare Krishna.
Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, are you ready?
Yes, Prabhuji.
Okay, all yours.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
Namaste Narasimhaya.
It's 6 o'clock.
Jaya
Krishna. Thank you so much, Krishna. You sang really nicely.
जय
भक्ति शिरोमणि परम महाराज की
जय।
गो प्रेमानंदे
हरि हरि बोल।
Hari Bol. Thank you very much, Krishna, for the amazing Nrsimha prayers. So, once again, we thank everyone for joining us this week. We welcome you all to join next week and also follow us on all the social media platforms as we have mentioned. So, Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.